Venerable Dharma Master Cheng Yun, Master Chen, and this Chen is different Chen from just now. Yeah, we have both the same name as well, the pronunciation. And online brothers and sisters, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. It is my honor to be given the chance to share today. Today we will have two speakers sharing, and I hope that it benefit you all. Let's Master Chen tell you all where are we come from.
Dear Mr. Chen Yan and Master Yuan Shifu and my brothers and sisters, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's truly wonderful that although we are at different time zones and regions, we still have a good affinity to come together to share through video conferencing. And first of all, let me introduce ourselves. We come from the Jinse Board in Hualien, which is located at the east coast of Hualien, Taiwan. And as you can see the picture, this is where we live, a simple monastery. It is a monastery founded by Dharma Master Zhen Yan. We are a small, self-sufficient monastery. And some of us have been working various work with a team of another Buddhist nuns in the upkeep of the monastery. We manufacture and sell various products such as multi-grain drink powder, instant rice, and handmade soap to support ourselves. And even though we are a small monastery, we care about the world. Our teacher, Dharma Master Zhen Yan, established Tzu Chi in 1966 with 30 housewives who each save 50 cents. It's roughly 2 cents US dollars from their grocery money every day in order to help the poor. And this movement slowly spread and grew and has now reached over 127 countries around the world. And since we have mentioned the Tzu Chi, the Jinse Board, you may wonder, what is the relationship between Tzu Chi and the Jinse Board? Actually, life in the board could be simple, and the cultivators don't need to work so hard. But Master's ideal of cultivation is not to focus on cultivation itself, but to inspire and to nurture living bodhisattvas. So the Jinse Board is a spiritual home for all the Tzu Chi volunteers and commissioners, and it is the best supporter for Tzu Chi Foundation. As a result, we need to understand first the true meaning of our name of Tzu Chi Foundation. The character Tzu means compassion, and the character Chi means relief. And immediately, one very important Buddhist point comes out of my mind, is that the four infinite minds of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Having loving kindness is to give joy. It is to wish for all people to be happy with compassion. We relieve suffering because we are not bare to let sentient beings suffer. When we hear of those who are suffering, we quickly go to comfort and carefully in order to relieve their pain. We do not only do this with human beings. When it comes to animals, we cannot also bear to see them killed or eaten. This is based on our deep reverence for all life. We realize that all living beings are interconnected and interdependent. When our actions comes from these feelings for all beings, we are practicing respect for life. Consequently, I believe that everyone will agree that love is the most powerful medicine in the world. The most precious thing in life is not money, but love. Let us learn how to love others and give with love. Let us love our fellow human beings as well as animals, our planet, so our world may become a beautiful and heartwarming places. This is the true way to prevent disasters. As we know that the world is full of suffering and disasters, such as the war between Russia and Ukraine, the COVID-19 pandemic, extreme climate disaster, and etc. Based on the Buddha's teachings, we know that the underlying root of human suffering and the origin of natural and man-made disasters is our human three poisons: greed, anger, and ignorance. Fortunately, there are antidotes to these poisons. Greed can be eliminated with gratitude. Anger can be mitigated with compassion, and ignorance can be expelled through self-reflection. As a result, whenever we carry out these missions, we hope volunteers and commissioners can always keep the four immeasurables in their minds and the Jinsi lineage in their heart. So, very crucial point that we need to keep in our mind is Tzu Chi is a faith-based organization. Without the Jinsi lineage, the previous page, please. Without the Jinsi Dharma lineage, Tzu Chi would just be an ordinary charity organization. Only by passing our Dharma lineage can volunteers have Tzu Chi spirit and values. So we monastics, as the role of cultivators at the board, is to pass on master's teachings and the religion spirit to Tzu Chi volunteers, so they can go amongst people to serve and relieve people's suffering and inspire people to do living bodhisattvas. So Yuan Shifu, would you like to kindly share why we need to attend these training courses?
Yeah. So basically in Tzu Chi, anyone who wishes to become a Tzu Chi commission or a faith corps members must undergo a period of certification training. One might start as a Tzu Chi donating members or community volunteer and then make aspiration to go through introductory program. After this introductory training program period, one will go through a second phase of advanced training to practice and gain a deep understanding of Tzu Chi spirit. Only then is able to be certified as a Tzu Chi commissioner or faith corps members. In the early days of Tzu Chi, as long as someone was willing, Dharma Master Cheng Yen would say that the person, come, that place needs you, so you can do it. As they took the donation book, they become commissioners. This was because Tzu Chi's volunteers in the past were fewer in number, and Dharma Master would often have the opportunity to interact directly with each one. These seniors commissioners wholeheartedly follow Dharma Master in his mission and retain their firm spiritual aspirations. But anyway, today, we have added not only introductory and advanced training programs, but also an assessment process to develop a commissioner of faith corps members. We need to recruit more living bodhisattvas. And in order for newly inspired bodhisattvas to sustain their initial aspirations, they must strengthen their faith and deepen their spiritual practice. Furthermore, because there are many pitfalls and temptations in modern society, it is essential for us to organize with precept in order to safeguard against wrong and put a stop to evil. This is in great Tzu Chi family. And I wish to share my personal experience becoming a commissioner as well. I am a Malaysian and become volunteer when I'm working in Singapore in year 2001. And at that moment, There wasn't any proper training course, but I have to fulfill 200 hours of volunteer time. And in that year, there was a fundraising for India earthquake. That's why within a short period of time, I fulfilled 200 hours and become advanced training volunteer. And for that on, in year 2004, I become a commissioner. As Tsuchi volunteer, when we go among people doing relief work, we must use practical Dharma that can address the needs of the world. Good work are accomplished by people, and evil work are likewise due to people breaking the rules. Since Tsuchi is an organization made up with people, the organization must, by necessity, have regulations. Everyone must uphold precepts and rules so we can undertake the mission of purifying the hearts for all. For this reason, in our training course, there is an emphasis on learning the precepts and rules and eradicating negative habitual tendency. So the precept had put in place to protect us from creating bad karma. They are like a firewall, preventing us from committing wrongs. If we uphold the precept, negative habitual tendency and evil thoughts cannot enter our mind. So the firewall prevents unwholesome thinking encroaching upon the mind. Besides guiding against wrongdoing, we also want to stop any evil due to thoughts of greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubts arising in our mind. So over here, I would like to kind of like doing some contemplation, how to stop any evil thoughts. Looking at the greed, what is our desire, our wants or needs? In December 2004, there's a South Asian tsunami happened. A group of Singaporean volunteers went to care for the Sri Lanka. They proposed to give a bicycle to the children. They consulted Dharma Master. Dharma Master felt that the bicycle is not what their needs. It will increase their desire because the children will ride the bicycle to everywhere without control and may give problem. This is Dharma Master wisdom when dealing to the real situation. Talking about anger, I had a working partner before which loved the dog very much, but I am just as normal. So she was very angry and scolded me. So at that moment, I faced it with very calm mind. And again, about the ignorance. Some children do not like to take meats since young. Co-relatives and friends saying that he is so stupid. But when he meets Tsuchi members, he has been accepted with this good habit and encourage him to continue the good practice. As such, there's a Jingxi aphorism said, a life filled with desire and expectation is a life filled with pain and affliction. So Master Chen, can you please share with us how to do the spiritual cultivation?
Okay, as to the spiritual cultivation, I remember the Buddha said, the mind, the Buddha, and the sentient beings are no different in their nature. The main difference is that we ordinary people are unenlightened beings with habitual tendencies. But fortunately, we are already on the path of Tzu Chi Bodhisattva path. We have the opportunity to practice the spiritual cultivation. This is why we said that spiritual cultivation lies in cultivating our mind first, refining our character, and then correcting behavior. Our intrinsic nature is pure, but the habitual tendencies we have defiled it. If we want to attain anything in our spiritual cultivation, we must eliminate our negative habitual tendencies and uphold the precepts. So, Tzu Chi's 10 precepts are the basis for becoming a good person. Their purpose is to help us develop proper conduct and the proper mindset in our practice and daily life. If everyone can abide by what is proper and fulfill their innate responsibilities, then we fulfill the basic conditions of being a good person. To be a good person, one must be able to love and respect oneself. Then one will naturally be able to love others. So, in upholding the precepts, we not only safeguard our own hearts and minds, but safeguard the hearts and minds of others as well. When we see others commit wrongdoings, with love and passions, we must do our best to influence them so they will not continue down the wrong path, especially in situations when we see a person who feels remorse knowing that they have done wrong. We should immediately encourage them and help them so that they will change their wrongdoings. We do not want their body seeds of goodness to wither away. Therefore, the precepts are not only to be used for us to help others, to help ourselves, but also to proactively help others. So every time when we heard that someone asked Master Zheng Yan, Tzu Chi Foundation operates on such a large scale. How do you manage it? She always replied, I organized with precepts and manage with love. Master Zheng Yan says Tzu Chi volunteers are to act with precepts and interact with love. The beauty of an organization lies in the beauty of its individual members. If each person can take good care of their hearts and mind, and each person can love, respect themselves and others in the spirit of harmony and mutual love, then there's no need for anyone to manage others. So since we have talking about the word volunteers, let's take a look at the meaning of the Chinese character word. Usually, there are two different ways to name volunteers in Chinese. One is 义工, which most people would use that word. The character 义 contains the meaning of I or self, which has the meaning of self-centered when you do things. In other words, if we are self-centered in doing something, we may easily quit just because of the difficulties or personal priorities. However, when Master Zheng Yan uses the phrase 志工 instead, which is the first word contains, or first characters contains the meaning of one person with the heart, it's because when you volunteer doing something, it is very important and crucial that you want to do it from the bottom of your heart, so that even you encounter some challenges or difficulties, you will try to overcome it with your whole heart. So, Yuan Shifu, what should volunteers also pay attention to? Could you share your opinions?
Yeah, just now we have already decided that the spirit of a Tzu Chi volunteer. Internally, we should cultivating sincerity, uprightness, faith, and steadfastness. And externally, we should practicing loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So volunteering is a voluntary act of an individual or group freely giving time and labor for community services. Hence, Tzu Chi volunteers usually give of their time and money to aid those in need. For international relief, this can even include purchasing your own plane tickets, food accommodation, and local travel expenses. Volunteers should also make their own purchases for uniform and other Tzu Chi related items. For those of you who may have received your training uniform from headquarters this time, this is a special exception due to the pandemic and volunteer not being able to come back to Taiwan to purchase them by yourself. So note that in circumstances, it can be normal to take some form of commission or rebate from the work that is performed on behalf of others. However, as volunteer, this is also not allowed. Indeed, Master Cheng Yen's always teach us that we must give without expecting anything in return. To be in a position to give is something we must always be grateful for. So over here, serving as a volunteer is also different from receiving support under the Catch for Relief program, which is targeted at helping disaster affectees by providing them with paid work to carry out recovery work in the aftermath of a disaster. This may include clean out after flood, earthquake, fires, and etc. Over here, we wish not only to help speed out the recovery of disasters and provide aid to those affected, but also lift out their spirits through helping themselves and the community affected. On occasions, Catch for Relief may also include providing part-time work for refugees or other disadvantaged person to carry out Tzu Chi work. So these Catch for Relief come from the Master's Cheng Yen wisdom. Apart from volunteers, there are also staff who work for the foundation. These are people who work full-time for Tzu Chi. They are often both volunteer and staff, as they choose to combine both their profession and aspiration to serve others. This means that they may spend extra times doing Tzu Chi related work even outside of office hour without extra pay. Above are important for volunteers to pay attention for. Anyway, Dharma Master always remind us more than that. Our Master Chen, can you kindly elaborate more?
Oh, sure. As we know that our teacher, Dharma Master Zheng Yan, always remind us of holding the core value of every religion. No matter what kind of faith you believe in, love is universal without boundaries and racial differences. And since Tzu Chi Foundation has set up, Dharma Master Zheng Yan has had the opportunity to meet many people from all regions. Love is the common word we share with one another, such as selfless love, great love, benevolent love, and compassionate love is one and the same across all regions. Besides having love, not only do we need volunteers in every country, we also need certified Tzu Chi volunteers, as only then can we continuously work to bring relief to all suffering beings. In Tzu Chi's world, it is never too late to learn. To commissioners, especially Tzu Chi means more than just giving as a Buddhist. It means a lifetime of learning. With the development of spatial functional units within Tzu Chi and its work expanding into many new areas, there is an urgent need for new blood and talent. Over the past years, the numbers of new commissioners has increased considerably. Not all of them are Buddhists, but all identify themselves with Tzu Chi's core concepts. They can have many opportunities to develop their strengths and professional abilities. So, as we know that the middle-aged commissioners, especially, all well aware of the changes that have taken place in society. They have to absorb information quickly in order to grasp the path of development within Tzu Chi, while at the same time interacting with and learning from a large variety of professionals. So it is also because the reason that since the 1891, to face the challenge of making Tzu Chi known to more people, commissioners have had to constantly update their own knowledge about Tzu Chi and play a more public role. Most importantly, they must be able to speak in front of large audience to explain what Tzu Chi is all about. Dharma Master Zheng Ye also said that fear, suffering, and hatred plant unwholesome seeds in people's heart, which can bring about continuous disasters to this world. The great love, however, allows every human being to live in harmony with one another. Everyone can open their hearts, expand their love to embrace all those who are in suffering, and that the seeds of love can be sown in people's hearts, so the flowers of hope can blossom all over the world. Yuan Shifu, shall we share some few examples about different religions which maintain still their own religions?
Okay, yeah. Over here, I would like to maybe explain one example and the other one by Master Chen. So over here, you can see that this is the Sutra of Infinite Meanings. The phrases given is one gives rise to infinity, and infinity arises from one. In fact, unselfish love can drive boundless love. Tzu Chi originated from Taiwan, and he has now been extended to all the world. Tzu Chi people all over the world will encounter many different cases and at the same time and in different spaces. Love can pervade an infinite amount of space and save all suffering beings. So, Elder Habib from Indonesia in 1998, when Indonesia's society was unsafe, he took in many orphans, many of whom were young and adolescents. And also, he started this Nurul Iman Islamic boarding school in Parung, Bogor, Jawa Barat, Indonesia. In year 2003, 3,000 children has been taken in. He was very unsustainable in life, and he didn't know how to live. So that the time, Elder Habib made a determination to ask for help from Tzu Chi people. In October 2003, Tzu Chi Foundation of Indonesia signed a contract with Nurul Iman Islamic School to supply 50 tons of white rice to the students in the school every month. Then in year 2004, Tzu Chi aided the construction of classroom in that school, and the groundbreaking ceremony was held on the 18th of August. So after that, when the CEO of Indonesian branch come back to the board and asking how to continue helping the school, Dharma Master advised that since the children are young, we can guide them to do recycling. They have land which can grow rice. Teach them how to bake the bread, and also besides self-use, they can also sell it to get extra income. And also they do recycling as well. Tzu Chi faced similar suspicious when it's provide assistance. When Elder Habib first asked Tzu Chi for help, he was concerned that Tzu Chi volunteers might try to convert his school children to Buddhism. Had he known the foundation better, he would not have concerned himself with such a worry. The foundation never did that, and Elder Habib was eventually convinced that his suspicion was unfounded. Elder Habib said, Dharma Master Cheng Yen is our teacher, and what we respect is the teacher, and will not change religion because of this. And also Dharma Master Cheng Yen replied, The patriarch and the school student respect Tzu Chi with gratitude. In fact, I don't reserve so much respect from them. They should respect Tzu Chi volunteer rather than owing all the credit to me, as all the work was in fact done by Tzu Chi volunteers voluntarily and I did nothing. That's why over here we can see that we take the Buddha's heart as our own and we take our teacher mission as our own. And Elder Hobbit later even asked to have pictures of Dharma Master Cheng Yen to be hung in school's classroom as an expression of appreciation. And since year 2010, the students have been studying Mandarin and Jingxi aphorism bi-weekly. And also, and you can see that in year 2018, Tzu Chi University Technology in Taiwan signed a contract of cultivation program, how to educate more talent students. Within these 2 years, few of them were from this school. Muhammad Nur Fatwal shares he stayed in Nur Iman School for 5 years. Tzu Chi volunteers come to the school frequently and helping them also teach them Chinese. He never thought of studying in overseas school because he is very poor. He appreciates the opportunity and be grateful to Master Cheng Yen. He will apply whatever he learned about marketing and accounting once graduated and contribute in Indonesia. Another one is the Islamic teacher. As a charity organization, Tzu Chi doesn't focus on helping the needy alone. We believe it is even more important to inspire goodness in people's hearts and motivate everyone to bring about a better world. Our TV station, Ta'ai TV, was established for that purpose in Indonesia. Saria, a teacher of Islam in Indonesia, found programming produced by our Ta'ai TV Indonesia inspirational. He includes some of its contents in his teaching material to promote the spirit of great love. Since most people in Indonesia practice Islam and we are a Buddhist group, some has raised doubts and criticism about his approach. Despite that, he believes in what he does because he feels that people should embrace great love and not distinguish between religions or nationalities. Over the past 20 years, our foundation, Tzu Chi, has built schools and mosques for Indonesia when the country was hit by natural disaster. We truly believe in giving to all without consideration of religion, race, or nationality. Religion itself is meant to bring about peace and help all people live in harmony. So there is much suffering in this world. Thankfully, we have real-life Bodhisattvas who help relieve that suffering. Tzu Chi volunteers help the less fortunate and inspire the rich to give. They take an action instead of just talking. So, Master Chen, shall you share another example, take action instead of just talking?
Okay, it is really my pleasure to introduce one very special school for you because I think what the school has done is really amazing. And another example comes from Turkey. The brother Faisal, who the head of the Tzu Chi Turkey, shared his feelings also based on the Sutra of Infinite Meaning. It says that having relieved them from suffering, Bodhisattvas then expound the Dharma for them, enabling them to experience happiness. Actually, love can transcend religious boundaries to save suffering people. And we can witness this from what Faisal who has done for the Syrian refugee children. As we know that millions of Syrian refugees live in Turkey, and their children have been able to attend school with Turkish students, but the instruction is in Turkish. And in 2015, the Tzu Chi volunteers started the El Manahil School, in which instruction is in Arabic for Syrian refugee children. And many refugee children, besides attending Turkish schools, comes to this kind of special school on weekends to learn Arabic. They explain the reason why they have to learn Arabic is because that the Quran is written in Arabic. So they must not forget their own country and religion. And brother who shared in Turkey along the Tsuji El Manahil School have helped over 3,000 Syrian children receive an education. And in addition to helping these kids, we also have provided financial aid or daily supplies to their families, also to help get them through this difficult time. Over the years, we have had tens of thousands of Syrian refugees in that country. As we know, the head of Tsuji in Turkey branch started providing care for Syrian refugees in 2014. Now the branch distributes aid to more than 16,000 families every month. From the Tsuji's missions in Turkey, we also witnessed devoted Muslims from Syria and Buddhists from Taiwan intermingled in perfect harmony during our missions to Turkey. This seems to echo what Master says. Religions are largely similar. They differ only in minor points. If you have a large heart, you see similarities, while small-mindedness leads you to perceive only the differences. When students returned to school in September 2021, after the pandemic has ceased, they donated their pocket money to help Tsuji headquarters in Taiwan purchase COVID vaccines to help speed up Taiwan's vaccination program. So let's watch a clip to see how passionate and compassionate is showing their great love to Taiwanese people.
Shukran, shukran, shukran. Okay, shukran.
As you can see, lots of the children are very happy and eager to donate their pocket money all together. Okay, so I still remember that one of the teachers had taught in Syria for over 40 years. He felt a range of emotions at being able to work as a teacher again in Turkey. He says that no matter how much we donate, we can never adequately thank Tsuji for standing with us over the years. Our small donations carry out our love and gratitude for Tsuji, said the principal. He remarked that they willingly parted with their money because they cared for the lives and safety of their fellow brothers and sisters in Taiwan. He mentioned, your lives are our lives, and your safety is our safety because we are brothers and sisters, because we are family. It's really touching. So as you can see the pictures, the kids smiling comes from the seeds of hope. And this shows out the true meaning that when lots of people create blessings together, the collective benevolent force will be great enough to make a huge change. And seeing these children's smiling face will remove the hatred and sorrow in their hearts and nurture them with love to become the seeds of hope. So it reminds me that one of the aphorisms says that every little bit effort now becomes the fruit we reap tomorrow. So it's really wonderful. Next page. So the Yuan Shifu, recently, as we know that the Dharma masters always worry about the Ukrainian refugees. Would you like to share more about it?
Yeah, as we all aware of the war in Ukraine, it is time like this when we need to gather our strength to help people in their greatest time need. And why is it so important to have Tzu Chi volunteers in every part of the world? If you have friends or family in the nearby country where Ukrainian refugees have fled to, such as Poland, please call on to help please call on their help and connect them to Tzu Chi. I hope we can all work together to provide support to the refugees as well. So, and also, as you can know, see that the time flies and it comes to the end of this presentation. So, Master Chen, shall we give some encouragement word to our volunteer?
Yeah, sure. As we all know that Mother Earth is sick, we are witnessing those frequently natural disasters around the world caused by extreme weather conditions. Consequently, it is very important for us to figure out how to mitigate and ward off disasters that are plaguing the entire world. Faced with the gradual destruction of the environment we live in, the need for humanity to awaken is imminent. We can see on an international level, there have been many collaborations and agreements to reduce carbon emissions and pollution. But this is not enough. We need to take action of all levels and sectors, may it be individual or societal. In other words, we need to combine efforts of the majority of the gradual people. So there is an old saying goes, good seeds bear good fruits. So I sincerely hope that all of us should heighten our awareness, live in a balanced and frugal life, and reduce our desires, nurture good thoughts, and do good deeds, so that we can bring about a world that is safe, peaceful, and healthy.
So over here, I would like to give another encouragement word. There is as Dharma Master Ching Yen always urged his followers to take the Buddha teachings to heart and practice them in their daily life. When we internalize wholesome principles and put them into action, we will be more inspire more people to join us in doing good. None of us can relive a single second. Time does not stand still for us. If we allow our mind to be crowded by unwholesome thoughts and affliction and stop moving forwards on the right path, we are not only letting time go by in vain, but also adding to the spiritual stability in the world. So last but not least, let us transform our mindset, always having the thoughts of giving without expectation, and do it with sincerity. Of course, having right faith, make a good vow, and put it into action is very important for us to adhere with. And we hope that Master Three Wishes, that is purify people's mind, to have harmony society and no disaster in the world. Thank you so much, and hope you all have a nice day. Thank you. And